talking about? What's up, K-Sap? Yeah. James Ford, that's me. Let me talk to him. Let's get it.
Simply ball dropping, simply ball dropping. Chopping up these topics, man, I'm simply ball dropping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Nah.
Hey, let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. This my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your top picks. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic, man. I got something to say.
Simply ball dropping, simply ball dropping. Chopping up these topics, man. I'm simply ball dropping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Nah, simply ball dropping, simply ball dropping. Chopping up these topics, man. I'm simply ball dropping.
Yo, what's good, peeps? What's good, peeps? Hey, welcome in, man. Welcome into another edition of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast, coming to you live via the YouTube airways. We got some things that we want to unpack today, man. I got two special guests with me today, man, and we're going to wait for some people to come in. But once you come in the stream, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share the video out, man. Make sure you share this video out. But, you know, I'm not going to hold you guys. I'm going to bring in my special guest for the day, and we're going to get it off and popping. But like I said, when you come in the stream, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this video out. And that's how we're going to do it. But I'm going to bring my two guests in here today. Man, what's going on, fellas?
What up?
Yo, Sean, I don't know about you. That theme song had me over here rocking.
Oh, jeez.
Most of the time, a podcast hires somebody to do a song for them, and I'm like, man, this whack, this corny. I felt smooth, full 07, 08 skating rink vibes. Like, yeah, I need this back.
that's that good old East Coast vibe for you,
yes,
man.
Sir.
That's that good old East Coast vibe for you, man. So what's been going on, fellas?
Nothing, just life, trying to just get this YouTube popping. Your inspiration, man. You're just giving us game on YouTube and things of that nature, and just out here grinding.
Man, we got to work together, man. Like I tell people, it's enough in this YouTube streets for everybody to eat, man. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is power, man, once you pass it along, man. But we got some hot takes today, man. You know, coming up on Sunday, man, we got this AFC championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to start with Javon, man. You know, you're a Baltimore hometown kid, born and raised. I know you're a Ravens fan. The last week's game, man, let's talk about last week's game, man. You know, Lamar had a lot of pressure going into that game. So let me ask you, do you think Lamar still has pressure on him to get the job done this week?
Absolutely, because when he got drafted in 2018, he told the world he was bringing a Super Bowl to Baltimore. You know, if you want to go down as one of them guys, them regular season MVPs are only going to get you so far in that conversation. At some point, you're going to have to win the big game in February. And this is, me and Sean talked about this a few times on our podcast. When it's your easiest chance to win, you have to do it. Not because you might not ever get there again, but you never know when it's going to be that easy again. And it's very clear that this year, for both the Harbaugh brothers, we said this for them all season, this is the easiest year that either one of them were going to have. Jim at Michigan and John with the Ravens. And for Lamar, this is your easiest chance to get it done. This is going to be the most vulnerable you're going to see the Chiefs, I believe. And you've got the great opportunity, you know, to be the man. You got to beat the man, and you got the great opportunity to do that at home at 1101 Russell Street in downtown Baltimore, Maryland. The pressure is still on. Mahomes, he can lose. He'll still have 2 Super Bowl MVPs under his belt. We know we're going to see him back. Lamar, 2-3 in the playoffs. He's always going to have doubters, just off the simple fact he's a black quarterback that uses his legs. Yeah. There's nothing else to it Sunday, but he has to get the job done. It's that simple. You'll get your record back up to 500, and you've already blown out whoever's going to be in the Super Bowl. You whoop San Francisco
Yes.
in their house for the whole world to see on Christmas night, and the whooping they put on Detroit, my goodness.
Yeah.
So you get there, you're fine. But the thing is, you have to get there. And that all roads, they run through Baltimore, but you got to go through Mahomes and Kelsey first. So he's got to get it done. The pressure is absolutely still on Lamar Jackson.
But I'll say this, man, with Lamar, and when you're talking about Kelsey and Mahomes, outside of Kelsey and Mahomes, I mean, Rice is coming along. I mean, what are the other weapons they have besides Pachinko? I mean, I just don't see. I mean, because Baltimore, man, they got that stellar safety in Kyle Hamilton, man. And, you know, if Mike McDonald matches Kyle Hamilton up with, you know, Kelsey, where else can Mahomes throw that ball? You got the likes of Patrick McQueen. I mean, you got guys on that defense, man, they hungry right now. So outside of them weapons, what are the other weapons that Kansas City can go to?
Yeah, no, their receivers, they're going to have to use their speed and win over the middle. If there's one thing in McDonald's defense that can be taken advantage of, it's throwing across the middle. The thing is, once teams start doing that in the first half, McDonald's probably the best at second half adjustments as far as defensive coordinators go in all of football right now. So that tends to go away. So if Kansas City wants to avoid a blowout in a hostile environment in a M&T Bank Stadium that's going to be rocking, and every Ravens legend you can think of are going to be there on Sunday, Rice, Scantling, they're going to have to use their speed to win over the middle. Because like you said, Kelsey is not going to be a factor. In Pacheco, you can't rely on him because when have you ever known the Baltimore Ravens to be a defense that lets you run the ball on them?
Exactly.
It hasn't happened. So they're going to have to use their speed. And the key is those guys are so questionable with their hands. They're going to get hit across the middle. So not only is they're going to use their speed to get open, but them boys are going to have to show up ready, as Patrick Queen says, ready to play some football and get hit in their mouths and be ready to hold on to the ball. Great receivers always say you're going to get hit anyway. Yeah. You might as well do your team a favor and hold on to the ball in the process. That's going to have to be that's the one thing I'm sure Andy Reid and Matt Nagy are just drilling into their receivers this week. You're going to get hit, and we're going to rely on y'all over the middle a lot. So come ready to get hit and hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
This is the weakest offense and team that Mahomes has had ever in his reign with the Kansas City Chiefs. So at this point, Javon's 100% right. This is Lamar and the Ravens' opportunity. This is like, I'm not saying the easiest because Patrick Mahomes, the heart of a champion. I did not think they would go into Buffalo last week and beat Buffalo. I can't lie.
I told you they would. You don't want to listen to me,
Javon said that. I got to give him his kudos. He said that, but I didn't believe it. I mean, so that's the only way they would beat Baltimore. It's like the heart of a champion and the experience weighs out. But the Ravens match up really well with this team. They don't have the weapons. They don't have the weapons to expose Baltimore. At least I don't think.
I mean, but like you said, they always got Patrick Mahomes, man. It seems like last week going into Buffalo, you know, I told my son, I said, man, Kansas City going to beat them because I'm not sold on Josh Allen. And when is people going to stop making excuses for Josh Allen? Man?
Never. He's the great white hype. K-Sap, you know how this goes. It's Josh Allen in the NFL, and it's Austin Reeves in the NBA. They got a chance to hype their guys up, and they're never going to be held accountable. And I'm sick of it. Sean, no, I've been on Josh Allen's case for years. I don't get it. He does not show up in the big moments. He's a turnover machine, and he does not beat who needs to be beaten when it matters. I don't understand it. They want to make this the whole Brady and Manning thing. Y'all have been around longer than I have, but that's the football I grew up on. Manning versus Brady was a debate, an actual debate for more than a decade.
Yeah.
We know Mahomes is levels above everyone else. The question is, who's chasing him to be the thorn in his side? And that conversation is down to two men. That's Joe Burrow, who has an AFC championship under his belt, and Lamar Jackson, who's about to equal him in MVPs and has a chance to get through him, just like Burrow did, to win his first AFC championship. The love for Josh Allen, it sickens me. It really does. I don't know. He's more like the Big Ben to Mahomes. Mahomes is Brady than he is the Manning. If Roethlisberger could beat everybody in the AFC, and the Patriots had his number, that's the same thing with Josh Allen. He can have a good day against anybody in the AFC. Mahomes has his number. So I'm sick of hearing about him.
Yeah.
And right now, he's probably the Phillip Rivers out of the four, if you think about it. Like, out of Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow. Like, because he doesn't win. At the end of the day, at least Lamar has to get to the AFC, to the Super Bowl, but he has 2 MVPs. You got to win. You have opportunity. You got to get to the Super Bowl at least to be in the conversation. Like, and he hasn't done that.
It's only going to get harder for him because there's new competition at SoFi State. Oof. Justin Herbert has Jim Harbaugh as his head coach.
Yep.
And we know what the last time we saw Harbaugh in the NFL, first 3 years, 3 NFC championship appearances, including a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah.
And the boy in Houston's there too. The boy in Houston's
there
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
he's there too. CJ's in the
He
AFC too. So
he showed me something last week.
And Anthony Richardson's coming to Indy next year.
Well, as long as he stays healthy, I think he'll pan out. But you know, like y'all said about CJ Stroud, he showed me something last week. But like you said, Javon, Baltimore's defense, it took him a while to get going. That second half, like Lamar said, man, he went into that locker room and he said he couldn't say it on national television, but he chewed off in some asses. Mm-hmm. And when they came out, they looked like the Ravens from the regular season. But what Mike McDonald did, he put the pressure on CJ Stroud. He wouldn't let CJ Stroud set his feet. He never had a clean pocket to step up into to throw the ball. And, outside of that, you got to look at the offense, man. Lamar got some weapons this year, man. Zay Flowers, man. I watched Zay Flowers coming out of Boston College, man. Yep. Zay Flowers, man, that he almost reminds me of a Marquise Brown, but better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he doesn't have drop issues.
Exactly. And then you got Bateman that's coming on. But you know who surprised me? Man, Likely. Likely has been a real boost since Mark Andrews is down. But there's word on the street, man. Mark Andrews might play.
KSAT, you heard it from me first. Mark Andrews will be active and starting on Sunday. He's full participant in practice yesterday. If you're a full participant on Wednesday, you're playing Sunday.
Oh, you're playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Or Saturday, or when they playing, or Monday night.
Yeah. So he will in fact be suited and booted. So now, don't get me wrong, I love what Kansas City's defense has done this year. McDuffie and Snead are some absolute dogs. Reed and Edwards are a good safety combination. Edwards can be picked on, not physically, but mentally. He can be deceived. We saw that last week on the Trent Sherfield should have been touchdown that Josh Allen got scared and pissed down his leg and underthrew. So I like what they've got going in the secondary. Their front seven has some speed to it and some physicality.
Oh yeah.
However, the thing is on the D line, you don't fear their edge rush. And with Lamar Jackson, you've got to have somebody to set the edge and contain them. Like, getting pressure through the middle is all fine and dandy, but you have to be able to keep him from rolling out, which I don't think they'll be able to do, which means Lamar's on the move, which is when he's at his most dangerous.
Well, that's what D'Amico Ryan tried to do last week, man. He had the spy on him, number 48. He had the spy on him until, 48 got hampered. He went down with an injury. He limped out of the game, but he came back. But by that time, Lamar was already in his groove, man. And one thing about Lamar, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs to even get set, because I like what the offense did last week, because Ronnie Stanley, I think there was one play that Lamar got on him for not holding his block and pushing the block downfield. And if you go back to that 4th and 1 on that quarterback keep, on that swing out, who was leading the play?
It was Ronnie Stanley. Yo, man, we got to get back to talking more consistently, because you just brought up everything I've brought up in the past few days. I put that in my story about Lamar Jackson Monday morning too. The second story I wrote Monday morning was how Lamar Jackson's leadership is what completely changed the Ravens this year.
Exactly.
And Saturday was the prime example. The halftime speech. Listening to his tight end who says, "Hey, don't try to squeeze the pass through to me. Lob it up." He does it. What happens?
And he threw it up.
Touchdown.
But if you go back and look at that play when he tried to force it in there between and old boy almost had that pick.
Yep.
And Likely was like, "Throw it up." What did Lamar do? Lamar hit his helmet. My bag. It's coming back to you. And they ran that same play Threw it right up to him.
Exactly.
Man. And that's
you
the
get
difference,
the Ronnie
man.
Stanley situation. Yo, you got to get up the field and get your block.
Yep.
Because 3rd and 1, and I'm sitting here watching the game with my brother and my homeboys from high school. I'm like, quarterback run to the left right here.
Yep.
They like, all right, let's see.
Stanley was leading the charge.
Stanley does his job and results in the
even on that touchdown that Lamar, when he ran in the tunnel, who was leading the charge?
Right.
Ronnie Stanley.
Mhm.
He followed Ronnie Stanley up the cut off of him. But like I said, it's going to be hard, man. Right now, it's going to be hard. Me personally, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs to compete with that. I mean, outside of Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, and like you said, Baltimore's defense, man, they're not going to let Pacheco. He runs hard, but they're not going to let him run all over him. So in that sense, I just think Baltimore has the edge. They playing at home. It's going to be a ruckus crowd. All the old Ravens going to be out there, and Lamar just got to show up, man. And if he plays like he played last week in the second half, it should be an easy victory, man.
I think it'll be a close game. It's close. Just which offense do I trust to have the ability to make a play against the opposing defense more?
Yeah.
I for the first time, I'm saying Kansas City doesn't have that advantage. They just don't. Their receivers are too unreliable. Exactly. Now, next season, they'll lose Chris Jones. They'll draft somebody to replace him, and they'll probably put some money towards a receiver. They might even trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Tennessee's rebuilding. He's going to be on a 1-year, $13 million rental in 2024, and you can get him for a 3rd or a 4th round pick. I'm sure the Chiefs will give up a 3rd or a 4th rounder to go back to the Super Bowl. So they'll be fine next season. That's exactly why I say they have to win this year, because they are vulnerable, but their vulnerability will be patched up next season, and they'll be right back in the AFC Championship.
I agree with that, man. So Sean, what's your take, man? What do you see playing out, man? How do you got it going?
Nah, I gotta go with Javon's boys. I gotta go with it's gonna be a really close game. I'm going with the Ravens. I don't know, like maybe 24-21. Okay. But I just think defensively they're gonna be able to stifle Kelsey. And I think if you're able to stifle Kelsey, they don't have enough weapons on the outside to harm the Baltimore Ravens. So I think it's Lamar's time. I think this is his year. I really do. I think it's his Super Bowl. He's going to be the MVP of the league, maybe Super Bowl MVP. If they win, then he'll be the Super Bowl MVP, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's his time. I think they're the best team. They're the most complete team in the league.
I certainly agree with that. I didn't mean to cut you off, Javon, but if you go back to draft night when he was up there with Deion Sanders, when everybody wanted him to not be a quarterback, wanted him to change his position and be a wide receiver and stuff like that, he said, nah, I'm a quarterback, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead these Ravens to a Super Bowl, man. So I hope everything plays out. You know, Lamar kind of manifests this, man. You know, a lot of guys did not want to take him because they thought he couldn't be the NFL prototype quarterback. But he's changed that narrative, man. And when y'all guys was talking about Kansas City and their receivers, man, I want to throw this out there. Do y'all think Stephon Diggs going to be in Buffalo next year?
We talked about this Monday. We've both soured on Stephon Diggs. He's made a lot of noise the past 2 off seasons.
Exactly.
And you dropped that Now, granted, don't get me wrong. He had to slow down to go up to get it.
Thank you. I tell my son the same thing.
He had to slow down to go up and get it.
A little more.
Yeah, Josh Allen made him break stride.
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah, Josh Allen made him break stride. Yep. However, because you've been talking the way you have, and because so much noise has come out of Western New York at your behest, you have to make that play.
Yeah.
I used to say I want him to come on home. Now I'm still saying it, but I want him to go to his actual home of the Commanders, because he's more of a DC dude than a Baltimore dude. So he can go down there. I don't think the Ravens locker room needs that. Kansas City, I think.
There you go. There you go.
You have to ask yourself, if you're a GM and you view Kansas City as your direct competition and you haven't beaten them yet in the postseason, you're 0-3. Are you sending them the help that they need?
Wow.
But I gotta say this. I gotta say this.
For a 4th round pick, is it worth making your competition better for a 4th round pick?
Listen, Stephon's production dropped at the second half of the year when Joe Brady took over, and they were able to win in Buffalo. I don't think he's that guy, and I don't like all that talk. Go ahead.
No, and I was going to say to that point, I know where you're going with it. My only rebuttal to that is going to be he may not be for his offense, because I think Stephon Diggs still can ball. Come on, you don't go 1,300 yards consistently without being able to ball. He just isn't for Joe Brady's offense. I think Gabe Davis is probably we prefer. And then maybe if they can get Diggs' contract off the books to bring Gabe Davis back, Joe Brady will probably tells McDermott and who was it, Bean up there? Yeah. Gabe's my number one. That would make sense to me. But yeah, like you said, he did have that fall off in the second half of the season. But when I look at it, I think it's more so because he's just not for that guy's scheme. We saw the same thing with Odell in Cleveland.
Yeah,
he just wasn't for Stefanski's scheme for some reason.
Great point.
Yeah, and I'm glad your boy. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
But you always saying about Josh Allen's Diggs. They won the division. They were 6-6 and finished 11-6, and Diggs wasn't a factor like that. So to me, it's like I understand what you're saying, like with the offense, but is Diggs that much of a difference maker going to X, Y, Z? Maybe Kansas City, but Patrick Mahomes can make water into wine.
Well,
so
let me ask y'all this. Is Diggs becoming one of them disgruntled wide receivers? You saw how it played out in Minnesota. You know, like the rumblings, the off seasons where he was talking, and look, he got shipped out, the cryptic tweets on his Twitter X, and the same thing with you know, out in Buffalo. The last two off seasons, Diggs has made a lot of noise, but you know, he's standing on business, talking about, you know, Josh is his guy. But when you start getting disgruntled like that, because if you go look at last week, man, what he had 3 catches, 21 yards.
Yeah, no, he's starting to get
7
that label.
targets.
He was targeting 8, 9 times, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you only had 3 catches for 21 yards, man. And like you said, Sean, you go back to the previous year where he wasn't really involved, but, you know, they made some noise in the playoffs. But at the same time, a receiver like, you know, Stephon Diggs, you're going to need him. But like Javon said, with that system, he might not be good for that system, man.
Yeah,
but as
fine.
far as, you know, Javon, look, just keep this open. There's some rumblings on the wall that he might come down to Baltimore next year if he gets out.
I think the Ravens, their priority is going to be bring Justin Madubuike back, because you can't afford to lose him.
He's underrated.
Yeah, if you've got to do everything you can to protect the defensive line of him, Michael Pierce, and Travis Jones. Yeah. That's going to be their priority. Odell has to come back for cheaper, or they draft a receiver, or they go sign one for cheap and use their first round pick on a corner. So with the Ravens, I'll be honest, I'm going to have to get on the phone and figure out what's going on with them. Or Odell is going to have to come out. The key to Baltimore's offseason is going to be Odell. So I don't know. And I think they're going to go after speed as long as Malkin's their offensive coordinator. So Diggs might not be in their equation. I will say this. You brought up him to Kansas City, and I brought up DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City. I told Sean the other day, it's time for Tampa Bay to accept they got their Super Bowl out of Brady. It's time to strip it down to the bare bones and rebuild back up. Mike Evans is an unrestricted free agent.
Oh, I expect
he's Kansas City to do everything they can to go grab him. He'll replace Kelsey as that big body and also serve as a number 1 receiver. But also, while we're talking about Odell, I'm glad your boy Lloyd brought this up. Odell has not had his postseason explosion yet. And that is what he was brought to Baltimore to do. Mentor the receiver room and show up when they need him in the postseason.
Yeah.
They're going to need him against the Kings of the AFC. Expect a big day from him. I truly expect Odell. I think he's going to have the game-deciding touchdown on Sunday. I truly do.
Last week, I'll go back to last week. That first catch Odell Beckham had, I thought Odell Beckham went down a little funny. I think his knee kind of bent back because, you know, he wasn't even featured, you know, later on in that game, man.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think that first catch across the middle, man, I told my son, it looked like his knee bent back, and I saw him go to the sideline. But after that, you know, it was nothing but Zay Flowers, Bateman, and Likely. And Lamar using his feet, man. But, you know, I'm excited, man, for Sunday, man. I'm excited, man. Hopefully the Ravens pull this off, man. Would love to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl, man. something that everybody wants to see. I want to see Lamar rewrite that narrative, man, so he can look at people and say, how you like me now? So
Absolutely.
it's very interesting, man. But we're gonna switch topics, man. We're gonna get off into this 49ers and Lions. It's, man, the Lions, man, it's been over 30 years. How many years since they
1991
since they've been to playoffs, man, and they riding high, man. Jared Goff, man. But do you think this success story and this feel good story can last? Going out there to Levi Stadium.
Sean, I'll let you grab this one first.
No, to answer the question straight up, I don't think they have. Yeah, I just gotta be honest. Like, I think it's gonna be a close game. If they could make the game a ground and pound type of game, be very physical, that's the name of the game. But I do think the 49ers, I don't know if Debo's playing. That's going to change everything because 49ers offense looks completely different without Debo, unless they're just going to keep it rushing it with Christian McCaffrey, excuse me. If that's the way they're going to do it, I'm going to leave to the 49ers. But the 49ers should not put the game in Brock Purdy's hands. I don't think he's made for the moment yet. He's the game manager. He did have the fourth quarter drive. He had the fourth quarter drive. And he had the fourth quarter drive, and I respect that. But I just think I'm just going to run the football and take my opportunities. I just don't think the Lions have enough in them. I just think the feel-good story ends in San Francisco on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think Detroit's an opportunistic defense, but they're not stopping anybody. And that is just a bad formula for anyone from the Shanahan system. And now you're facing Kyle Shanahan himself, right?
Yeah.
You got a 49ers team with or without Deebo Samuel. They don't have to put the ball in the air. Like, we forget, not only is it Christian McCaffrey, they also have Elijah Mitchell, and they can bring in anybody off the street and make him look like a good running back on that team. We've seen them do it for years, right? And Samuel, when he's lining up, he's not even the number one receiver. Brandon Ayuk is. And then you got Ronnie Bell from Michigan has shown up this year. Jawan Jennings has really shown up. When his contract comes up, they're not going to be able to afford to keep him. Somebody's going to bring him in to be their number two. And then you've got George Kittle. It's a whole bunch of safety blankets to keep Brock Purdy from having to take the chances where Detroit can, capitalize on how opportunistic they are as a defense. Listen, I like what Dan Campbell has done with that team, but they need some more pieces on the defense. It's that simple. The front seven, I think they can live with. The secondary, they need corners. They're fine at safety, but they need corners. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with the speed of San Francisco, and I don't know if they'll be able to stop the run. I don't think they get blown out. However, we know one thing about Jared Goff. If you get in his face, tough times can be ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And there's one thing San Francisco can do.
With Greenlaw and them?
With Greenlaw, Barnett, Kinlaw, Chase Young, Nick Bosa. They can get in your face and make you hate them. So the 49ers have the roster that is built to end Detroit's Cinderella story this year. But Detroit's going to be here for a while. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they stepped it up, man. And, I give kudos to Aaron Glenn, man. Like you said, with the personnel that they have in the secondary, the cornerback play is kind of, iffy, but they do have great safety play. But Aaron Glenn got them boys flying around to the ball. But like you said, Javon, it's going to be hard to match up with the likes of, Christian McCaffrey. Then you got Ayuk. Then you got George Kittle. But like you said, Sean, Brock Purdy being a game manager. Last week, they didn't ask him to do too much because when Deebo Samuel went down, you saw Brock Purdy missing throws, couldn't get the throws in there. But when they needed that possession for them to march down the field to go ahead, what did he do? He didn't really rely on his arm. He used his feet. You see what I'm saying? He used his feet. He got a couple throws in there, but, Christian McCaffrey is a big difference. But on the defensive side of the ball, like Javon said, with San Francisco, man, it's too many big name players with explosive plays at the skill position. And like you said, if you get in the face of Jared Goff and put him in that trick bag, you can make him start thinking. He'll start forcing it and turnovers will come. But I give it to, Detroit. Jameer Gibbs, man, he's had a hell of a season, man. One of the breakout seasons, man. So it's like he coming in running the ball. But outside of that, Ramon St. What his name?
Amon-Ra St. Brown, yeah.
Yeah. Outside of that, man, I just don't see that Detroit has enough to compete with San Francisco, man. So I gotta tip my cap to San Francisco, man. I'm gonna go San Francisco taking this one. But outside of that, man, and like Javon said, you said it earlier, man. If Baltimore beats Kansas City and goes to the Super Bowl, in that Super Bowl, playing against whoever, San Francisco or Detroit, I mean, it's set up for Baltimore. It's set up for Baltimore's Super Bowl to take.
Yeah, the thing with it is, so I do believe Detroit can win. I'm just not picking them to win because you've got Laporta, but he's banged up, and Zach Ertz is coming in. I'm sorry, no football player is making an impact in 1 week. You've got to learn. You're not learning the system in 1 week. I know he's been around for a while. He's a very smart football player, but his snap count is going to be limited. Yeah. It's outside of St. Brown. Are you going to be able to keep it on the ground all day with David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs? I don't know if that happens against San Fran. And do your other receivers show up? Does Jameson Williams show up? Does Josh Reynolds show up?
Yeah. You got to have some explosive plays somewhere.
Yeah.
There's got to be some big plays somewhere.
It's another, I don't know. So it was San Francisco, and this is the advantage of the number 1 seed, and this is why you get the credit for it. It's been a good luck of the draw for how their team is constructed. You get virtually a rookie. You get a guy in his first season starting in Jordan Love. And then your second game, you get someone who's just like your quarterback, a game manager with Jared Goff. So, it's set up good for you to win yourself an NFC championship. But the thing where it's going to run short for San Fran, and we're going to have the conversation this offseason of, all right, we know Kyle Shanahan can take any quarterback and get to the Super Bowl with him.
Yeah.
However, he's not going to be able to win until he has a difference maker instead of a game manager. That's the conversation we're going to have this offseason. Because no matter how you slice it, whether Kansas City or Baltimore walks out of M&T Bank with a win on Sunday and the Lamar Hunt Trophy, Purdy can't compete with either one of them.
Exactly.
He's not going to be able to keep up with them in the playmaking department. And in the Super Bowl, you're going to need it. So regardless of how you slice it, San Francisco comes out of the NFC on Sunday. They're not winning the Super Bowl because they don't have the quarterback to do it. And I like Brock Purdy. I was the same one getting on podcast saying he had no business being Mr. Irrelevant, had one hell of a career at Iowa State. I didn't think he should have gone, any lower than the 4th round. But he has proven he needs a bit of time to get out of that game manager role and into the, he can get you over the hump spot. And we've got to remember, if this were baseball, this would be classified as Brock Purdy's rookie season. He only started 5 regular season games last year.
Yep.
This is his first full season as a starter. Sean and I are big baseball fans. We classify guys as rookies until they finish their first full season. Brock Purdy is still a rookie. So there's no, getting on him too much, but the moment is going to be a little too big for him in 2 weeks from Sunday.
So basically what Cam Newton was saying about game changers and game managers, y'all believe in that theory then?
No, he wasn't wrong. The case that there is our
pretty much wrong about that.
And first of all, there's only been 11 people to ever walk this planet to win a Heisman Trophy and an NFL MVP award. Cameron Newton is one of them. So he has what Shaq calls G14 classification to talk about anything on the quarterback position. And the fact that anybody would try to discredit what he said is bogus. And me and Sean said that day. And we agreed with everything he said that day. There's only a select few difference makers. That's what makes them so special. And they should be the only ones taking up 25% of their team salary cap. A lot of these quarterbacks like Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, they shouldn't be getting paid what they're getting paid. The only people who should be in that conversation right now, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. That's it. Those are the three. Rodgers is old and over the hump. C.J. Stroud has to show us he can get there. Justin Herbert has to show us he can get there. Josh Allen has shown us he will lose you a big game before he wins you a big game. Jalen Hurts, he's got to show us something because right now it's looking like he was a product of Shane Steichen. Yeah. And outside of that, there's no one else in the conversation. We'll see what Anthony Richardson looks like. We'll see what Caleb Williams looks like. We'll see what Bryce Young, once he gets out of Carolina, looks like. Trevor Lawrence, I didn't see the great hype in him. I knew he'd be a starter. I didn't see him being the next Peyton Manning, as people like our own Sean Bryson was labeling him. I did. So, Cam was 200% correct. I'll never discredit someone that accomplished at the position. If Kimberly Martin, who I think is a pretty damn good reporter, if Kimberly Martin can talk about the quarterback position, Cam Newton absolutely can teach about the quarterback position.
One thing I want to say about Brock Purdy in the offseason, because Javon mentioned this, I think San Francisco has the quarterback. Remember, Tom Brady was a game manager for the first couple of years of his career. Yep. It takes time. I think everybody wants everybody to be CJ Stroud right away. That's not realistic, right? It takes time. I think they found the quarterback.
28 picks as a rookie.
Yes, it takes time. He is a rookie. Let's call it spade, but he is basically a rookie playing quarterback. It's just his team is really talented. Big Ben was a game manager when he took over for Pittsburgh. It takes time, you guys. They have their quarterback. I don't think they need another quarterback.
So how many years you give Brock Purdy before he really, takes off and blossoms?
Let's see. The standard quarterback rookie deal was 5 years, right, Sean? You get 4, and then you get the fifth-year option. They operated like NBA rookies do. Yeah. He's got till after his 5th season. Yeah. Well, he's 4th season. He's got till after his 4th season to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 4 seasons enough seasons to say, hey, this guy has it or he doesn't have it. And I think, he had great numbers, but his talent around him was great. His accurate. I always look at quarterback's accuracy number. He was very accurate with the football. That's a good sign of where he's going. I think he's good. I think he could be a really good quarterback. I can't lie. I think he's gonna be really good.
And see, the thing about that, like y'all said earlier, man, it all hones on if Debo is gonna play. That makes a difference. Yeah, I think he's more comfortable when Debo Samuels is on the field.
Of course, yeah. Debo's special. Debo's a game changer. So
I wish Debo would stop crying so damn much in the media, though. Lord have mercy. Brock's not the
MVP. Receivers.
It's too much talented out there. Shut up. Yeah. Like, not everybody. Not on it. Listen. Not everything that's not ass kissing is hate. I wish these athletes would understand that. Not everything that's not ass kissing is hate. Sometimes you just need to listen. You need to shut up and listen and accept the truth. It'll make you a better player. I promise you it will. You just saw Luka Doncic go off on Tim McMahon last night. Man. Tim McMahon's a damn good reporter, Luka.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that he asked you what happened with the fan.
Nah, Javon. Tim McMahon is an a-hole. I think he's I don't like him at all. I think he's very.
That was a great segue into our next topic, man. Let's get off into the NBA. The hot thing that's going on right now is the Milwaukee Bucks fire Adrian Griffin. And then Adrian Griffin was 30-13, man, second in the East, man. And they got rid of him. What's your take on that? I'll let you go and take this one, Javon.
This was Giannis Antetokounmpo really flexing how much muscle he has in Milwaukee. I don't care what he said today, talking about he loved the guy.
Talk about it.
The fact is, the team was 30-13, and me and Sean, I said this to Sean yesterday on the pod. If news comes from Chris Haynes on a team that has Damian Lillard on its roster, it's coming directly from the locker room. Because Chris Haynes is to Damian Lillard what Ahmad Rashad was to Michael Jordan. You had numerous.
Windhurst is the LeBron James.
Well, Windhurst is the LeBron. See, there you go.
You get it. Yeah.
You had several meetings of just Dame, Giannis, what was it? Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton. Of, okay, y'all are the 4 leaders of the team. What's wrong? Boom, boom, boom. And they kept questioning your sets. Giannis was calling you out in public. And they didn't take reception to you saying, okay, I'm with y'all on that. I got to get better. But now let me hold y'all accountable. Dame and Giannis, y'all drive to the lane and have teammates' booty cheeks open. And y'all won't pass to them.
Yeah.
I need y'all to do that. defense. Y'all ain't bringing no intensity.
Exactly.
I need y'all to bring it. And this shows they weren't receptive to that, so they don't want to be coached. They're out of the title picture. You fired a coach who was 3.5 games behind for the best record in the
NBA.
league.
Yep.
What? Now you're paying him, Budenholzer, and
now
Doc Rivers
Yeah.
for the next 4 years. And I know we got Doc Rivers up next, so I'll save that part of how I feel about the move. The bottom line is Milwaukee does not know how it feels now. You fired Budenholzer for losing to the Miami Heat with a Giannis Antetokounmpo that probably was only 60%.
Yeah.
He had one of the best defenses in the league, won you a championship, and you got rid of him for losing to the Heat when his team wasn't healthy because the Heat were an 8 seed. The Heat were the NBA equivalent of a team in March Madness that was seeded too low. The only reason you can't use that argument is because seeding in the NBA goes off your record. Seeding in March Madness goes off a vote. When's the last time the Heat took the regular season seriously? And they've always had Milwaukee's number. You can't fire him for that. And you fired him just to get rid of his replacement after 43 games. And in Chris Haynes' report, it says you hired him because you didn't even think you were going to have a roster to compete this year. You didn't expect to get Damian Lillard. Adrian Griffin came in before Dame. And then once you got Dame, your expectations changed, which made no sense to me because I told Sean the day it happened, that trade knocked them out the title picture itself because they no longer had a facilitator and no longer had a perimeter defender. There's a reason Drew Holiday took Damian Lillard's minutes in the 2021 Summer Olympics. Damian Lillard does not play winning basketball. It's a reason he never got far in the Western Conference. Wow. You have to hoop out there. He doesn't hoop. He gets his numbers. So the whole Milwaukee Bucks franchise has now gotten the label of unserious franchise. You got Thanasis Antetokounmpo wasting the roster spot. That's all I got to say. I know he's Giannis's emotional support. That dude don't know how to play the game of basketball. Literally does not know how to play the game of basketball. Well, Sean, I don't take the Bucks seriously.
Let me ask you this, Sean. Now, from what Javon said, now can we consider Giannis a coach killer?
I don't think so because at the end of the day, I kind of agree with the move. Like I know everybody's saying he was 30-13, but that team is 20. What we saw on the show, they're 26 in points allowed in the NBA.
Defensive rating is terrible.
Yeah, they were fourth. They had the fourth worst in points allowed per game.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I said this to Javon.
Turnovers.
Yeah, I said this to Javon. Just put Giannis and Brook Lopez alone. You shouldn't be that low. You should be at least middle of the pack defensively. And he tried to come in, and you guys remember Mike D'Antoni when he coached the Knicks. He tried to run the offense like he had Steve Nash still running the point guard. And I always believe a great coach adjusts to his talent, not try to force a philosophy on people. He came in with this aggressive type of style when you had Brook Lopez, who was second in defensive player of the year. Keep the thing the same way and elevate their offensive efficiency, what he did. But I thought he should get fired because at the end of the day, that team has too much talent on the defensive side of the basketball to be that bad on defense. And we know this. The Celtics, Philly, Miami, they play defense. Indiana was scoring like 150 points on the Bucks. Come on. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Defensive efficiency was down, but I go back to, earlier in the season when Giannis at the post-game press conference, Giannis was talking about the coaches got to do better. At that point, I was looking at Giannis like, man, you really throwing your coach under the bus. Even the reports of Bobby Portis, it was times that they said Bobby Portis and Adrian Griffin got into heated discussions in the locker room. They had to be pulled apart. And like Javon said, when Chris Haynes is reporting that, and like you said, that's Damian Lillard on your team.
That's his boy.
Exactly. So you know exactly what's going down. But when I say a coach killer, because I'm going to have to throw this in there. Because if this was LeBron James and your coach got fired, you know what the narrative is. LeBron getting these coaches fired again. LeBron, he's the GM and things like that. But
he stinks at it, by the way.
Yeah, but 30-13, you second in the East. The last time we saw, hold up, Sean. The last time we saw this was 2015 and David Blatt in Cleveland when he got fired midway through the season, and Cleveland was number 1 in the East, and Tyronn Lue took over. But then they, Tyronn Lue took him to the championship.
I had a real problem with that David Blatt one. That was LeBron being a bully, which we don't call him enough. Like, come on, you ain't do none of this with Mike Brown. You didn't do this with Ty Lue, and you're not doing it with Darvin Ham. Who have you bullied out? David Blatt. You tried to bully out Eric Spoelstra, but they've got too good of an organization down there in Miami. And you bullied out Frank Vogel. So he walked over all them white dudes he could. LeBron's a bully because he does it to small players, light-skinned players, and white coaches.
I don't know.
Magic Johnson. No.
He does.
Guys, Magic Vogel. You guys keep blaming the guys now. Magic Johnson did this in the 80s too.
Hold on, now, Sean. Yeah, I know Magic.
No, Magic.
And I hate to be
Magic did it.
I hate to be the it's different guy, but Sean, we've read the books, we've watched the documentaries, and we've watched Winning Time. McKinney was the genius to that team. Gets in the accident. Westhead takes over and wins with McKinney's system. And now he's feeling like Mr. Big Stuff and wants to change everything and slow the team down and take the ball out of Magic's hands and all that. I'm the number one pick. And we just won not off of your system, but the old guy system. Now you're trying to change stuff up and you talking crazy about me in the media and keep trying to make an example out of me in the locker room. I'm going to say it's me or him too. Magic was well within his rights with Westhead. And he turned out to be right because how many did he win with Pat Riley?
Absolutely. I'm not knocking that. But then why isn't Giannis right about he's been complaining about the defense. He's been saying we need to be coach harder, blah, blah, blah. So what's Giannis doing wrong about it? Giannis is the man. He's the guy.
We'll see if Giannis is right or not about this. He has a point. I'm not trying to say he doesn't have a point here. My thing is from an organizational standpoint, if you were going to do this, you shouldn't have hired the dude in the first place, number one. And number two, your replacement has to be better than Doc Rivers. And I see we got one of the, LeBron fans in here. We know I don't waste my time with that.
It's always LeBron fans.
Yeah, his fans are the worst thing to happen to basketball. Yeah. So it's not even worth, discussion. But my gripe with this really lies within who the replacement is. I think that's really where my biggest issue falls with this.
I know we're going to talk about that. That's my thing too. And I know we're going to talk about that soon. Is the replacement.
But my thing is with Adrian Griffin, man, like you said, Javon, they hired Adrian Griffin not knowing what that roster was going to look like. Damian Lillard wasn't there. Then they finally get Damian Lillard. But, their defense has suffered. Drew Holiday, he's the perimeter defender. And like I said, coming into it, once they got Dame Lillard, I always thought that Boston was still going to represent the East because they play defense. Porzingis is healthy. Jaylen Brown still don't have a left, but he still is out there hooping. Jason Tatum just has to step up. But, with Adrian Griffin being fired, they brought in Doc Rivers. It looks like, he was negotiating a contract. It looks like he's taking over. But in this sense, I don't think this is the team for Doc. I just don't think this is Doc's team to coach, man. I don't know how it's going to work out. We've seen, they keep on flabbergasting off of Doc's one championship in 2008. He's lost leads of 3-1. So I just don't think this, like you said, Javon, I don't think this Milwaukee team is built for this playoff thing, even though they got one championship under Budenholzer. But at the same time, I don't think Doc is the right coach for this particular team.
Yeah, my thing with Doc Rivers is I don't really have an opinion on him in Orlando. He didn't have the best rosters out there. With Boston, he only got one. I think that's where my issue is. He only got one with that super team.
Yeah.
And they were around for, I know the next year they got hurt.
But then they would have won it that year. They would have won it that year.
No, they wouldn't have, because the Lakers had a full season of Pau Gasol. I tell you every time. They only won that first one because Pau Gasol wasn't a Laker for more than 40 games. Like, that's the only reason Boston won that first one.
Kobe a lot of trouble. But keep going.
That second one, they didn't get there because Paul Pierce got hurt. The third one, they lost that series in 7. And then LeBron goes to Miami. LeBron finally has some help, and now they can't beat him. So, like, I don't know. Doc, he lives a lot off that one championship. You get to the Clippers, I will say this. I I don't know what to think of that Clippers squad because they never had a premier go-to perimeter scorer. They had Jamal Crawford off the bench, but they didn't have a guy in the second unit who you could say, go get me a bucket from outside. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul was a facilitator.
Yeah.
JJ Redick was a catch and shoot who's not making any plays for himself. Don't even get me started on how much I can't stand listening to him. They had a revolving door of small forwards, and they were usually older guys. It was Blake Griffin, who you had to rely on to stay healthy, who didn't really develop his face-up game until, year 4 of his career? And then DeAndre Jordan, who was just a body. Rim run, catch the ball, protect the rim. He wasn't doing anything for himself. So he didn't have a roster to truly compete for a chip with the Clippers. But still, when you build up 3-1 leads and you blow them, there's no excuse for it. And Philly didn't work out.
But see,
with or without
Doc,
James Harden.
But the thing with Doc, I mean, as him coming in as the head coach, he's not going to be able to bring his personnel in with him. He's still stuck
it's not his staff.
Exactly.
It's not his staff.
And it's different when you don't have your staff.
It's on the fly.
Exactly.
His staff is in Boston right now.
Yeah,
Sam Cassell is with the Celtics right now.
Exactly. So
Tom Thibodeau is with the Knicks.
I just don't think, man. I don't think Doc can turn this around. I don't see it, me personally. What you think, Javon? I mean, what you think, Sean?
I think he's gonna enforce a little bit more accountability because people respect Doc. But I do think he's overrated as a head coach. And maybe I'll give him the Clippers pass with the whole Chris Paul, because I think Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were just poor. If you listen to all the ex-Clippers players talk about that team or that era, the leadership was poor, and because the two guys couldn't get along for whatever reason. But look what he did with Kawhi and Paul George. Look what he did with Philadelphia. At some point, Doc gets so many chances, and I don't get why. He's 0-5 in his last. Well, he's lost 5 straight Game 7s. What has he done to prove like he's the guy? I would have called Jeffrey and Gundy. I would have called Jeffrey and Gundy and be like, "Hey, you haven't coached in this league in a while," but he would have approved them defensively, and I think that's what they need. Doc got plenty of chances to be the guy and win multiple championships. Look at the names of the people Doc has coached: Joel Embiid, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Kevin Garnett, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George,
Tyrese Maxey, James Harden,
Tyrese Maxey, all those guys, and you only got one. You only got one. People could say whatever they want about Phil Jackson, but he got rings with all that great talent. And yes, you know what I'm saying? You only got one of these? Nah, I don't care. Boston, Javon converted me over. Miami and Philadelphia are better than the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah,
and I stand on that.
Doc's the Mike McCarthy of the NBA, number one.
Wow.
The Celtics, they play with their food entirely too much. I wish nothing but bad on the city of Philadelphia sports teams, and until the Sixers prove to me they can get out of the second round, I don't want to hear their names. Embiid's a terrible postseason player. He's not a leader. Doesn't elevate his play. He plays too lazy in the playoffs, which makes his teammates think they can continue to play lazy. So don't even talk to me about that, dude. Be happy about your 70 points and your 2 MVPs. You're never going to win anything. Stop measuring him in the conversation with Hakeem Olajuwon. Stop disrespecting Patrick Ewing by putting Embiid in the same sentence as Ewing. Because remember, Patrick Ewing only had one roadblock, and his name was Michael Jordan. The 2 times his roadblock was removed from the equation, Patrick Ewing got to the NBA Finals. Embiid hasn't even gotten past the second round yet. And he ain't got no Michael Jordan in his Eastern Conference. So stop putting him in that conversation. So I don't want to hear about the Celtics. The Sixers, excuse me. Like I said, Celtics, they play with their food. Joe Mazzulla is the definition of a bird brain. You got all that length on your team, and you want to chuck 40, 50 threes a game. And especially when they don't even go down. Jaylen Brown, Mr. No Left Hand, and thinks he's something that he's not. Listen, look, don't get me started on the Celtics. They're not a contender. It's Miami's conference to win. I look forward to seeing the Heat against the Nuggets Part 2 in June.
Oh, wow. You stepping out that far?
Oh, I've been telling Sean about the Heat for years. And how many NBA championship appearances do they have? How many NBA Finals appearances do they have? 2. Yeah. The Celtics hate to play them. They're going to a third. And now they got themselves their point guard with Terry Rozier.
You think Rozier going to make that big of a difference?
Terry Rozier is a point guard on a championship team. Can we talk about his Boston days for a minute.
Oh yeah, he
When
was
they
solid
took
in
LeBron
Boston.
to 7,
Yeah,
that was an extremely young team.
that's when his
And
name was
Kyrie
Scary
and
Terry.
Gordon Hayward
Yeah,
had nothing to do with that. They were hurt. The fact that that organization, first of all, it made no sense to bring in Hayward when you already had Brown and Tatum. But whatever. The fact that you chose, it wasn't even Kyrie. You chose Kemba Walker and Marcus Smart over Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
That's bad, Danny Ainge. That is real bad, okay? So I said from the jump, after that year, they were supposed to move Kyrie and Hayward for another power forward piece and build around Rozier, Brown, and Tatum as your perimeter. And Marcus Smart off the bench, Horford as your center. And now look at them. What did they do? They went out, got themselves a similar point guard to Rozier in Drew Holiday, got themselves a 6-man in Derek White, and they got themselves the power forward I said they needed in Kristaps Porzingis. So Brad Stevens showed he needed to be the one cooking with the ingredients. Until Missoula's gone, everybody said Will Hardy was the assistant that was supposed to get that job, not Missoula. So until he's gone, I don't want to hear about the Celtics. He is not a good coach.
wow. So you're not sold on Missoula?
He's Kendrick Perkins, and I don't agree with him on nothing but food in this world. He said if you replace Joe Missoula's brain with that of a bird, he'd start flying backwards. He said that on Friday, and I 300% agreed with him. That is how low I think of Joe Mazzulla as a head coach. He is a disgrace to West Virginia basketball. Because a disgrace to West Virginia basketball. Because he does not embody any of his philosophies at all.
Wow. Man, that's tough right there, man. Javon, you being tough on him, man. And but
I'm being honest from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, from the naked eye test, from the naked eye test, when you look at from what you watch, and a lot of people get off into the stats and the analytics of the game, but from the naked eye test, you see what you see.
I'm sick of hearing about them spreadsheets. I'm so sick of analytics. Lord have mercy. We ain't even got enough time to go into that. It is, you got a whole bunch of dudes who couldn't suit up for their JV team that went to Ivy League or Silicon Valley schools, and because they could never contribute and didn't have a brain to think for themselves athletically, they had to come up with some algorithms and some formulas to act like they know something about the game. Hell no.
Man. That's a true statement, man. So on the final thought, man, what's your final thoughts, Sean? What's your final thoughts on everything, man?
So everything, I disagree with Javon in one sense. I think the Celtics will win the East this year. It'll be close. We'll go 7 games against Miami again. It's just gonna be like a tradition. But my final thoughts is
some money on that this year, because I'm sick of being right for free. You want to put something down on that this year?
Yeah, whatever. We could talk about that. I'm down for that. The reason I do is because listen, Missoula was that bad last year, and they lost in Game 7 and came back from down 0-3. Come on, they're gonna get to the finals one of the years. He's not going anywhere. The Celtics will get to a finals with Joe Mazzulla coaching them. They're just too much talent on that team. They went to Game 7, and he was bad last year. Everybody said he was bad. They're going to get to the NBA finals. And the NBA needs the Celtics versus the Nuggets. We don't want to see another Heat versus Nuggets finals. That was one of the worst finals to watch in NBA history. And Javon knows that. So, and second of all, just to wrap it up with what I think about Doc, get your money, man. They signed him to another long-term deal. His contract lines.
Yep.
Yeah, it lines up to with Dame and Giannis's contracts line up. Cool. But I don't see it working. They need some more pieces. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, get your final thoughts, Javon.
I would like to see Milwaukee move Giannis to the starting center, Bobby Portis to the starting power forward. Get yourself another 3-and-D guy next to Chris Middleton on the wing with Dame. Cameron Payne has to go for a facilitator at backup point guard. I'd be calling Indiana for TJ McConnell in a heartbeat, to be honest with you. That's all I got. I think that's the only way this roster contends for anything. But
so what are you doing? What are you doing with Brook Lopez?
If he's open to a bench role, you keep him. If not, you use him in that $25 million contract to go get the pieces I said. So you got Robin as your backup if he's gone.
Oh, you giving up on Brook?
No, it's not even that. It's just we're in the year of 2023. where spacing is loved so much and we love versatility and quick feet on defense. Fellas, y'all let me know the last time Giannis has had a consistent jump shot. He makes his living in the paint. He doesn't guard the best team's other guy. He's the help side defender. And he averages 10 rebounds a game with no problem. He's a center. Move him to the center. You're wasting time with him at the power forward. Get quicker and save yourself some money and put him at the starting five.
How's that help him defensively, though?
I've always said that about Giannis. Giannis is a great help side defender, man. He don't. If you go back to that,
and Giannis gives you more versatility in the pick and roll on defense. That's how it improves you defensively, Sean. He's going to be way better switching in the pick and roll than Brook Lopez is.
And you go back to 2018, he didn't want no parts of KD. He didn't want no parts of KD. None at all.
Or Jimmy Butler last year.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If he's supposed to be this so-called sole defender, he wanted no parts of the best player. Like you said, Giannis does a lot of roaming. And that's the way I look at Anthony Davis, man. His on-ball defense is not all that.
I disagree with you on that one with AD.
Nah.
I think AD can guard everybody but Nikola Jokic. Jokic gives him the blues, and I can't penalize you for Jokic giving you the blues. Embiid goes foul searching every time he plays Anthony Davis. He looks to get him fouled out. I got no respect for that dude. I got no respect for that dude named Joel Embiid whatsoever. So I'm not giving AD any flack for that. That's a foul hunting, never going to win anything, no good piece of crap at the Wells Fargo Center. I got nothing for him. Wow. But AD can guard everybody not named Nikola Jokic in the league.
So
I agree with that.
Before we close it out, man, I gotta ask this question, man. What is the Lakers' problem?
Darvin Ham, that bald-headed idiot named Darvin Ham.
Scam.
You got D'Angelo Russell, who has the lowest IQ of any starting point guard in the NBA, and you got this infatuation with Austin Reeves. I don't understand. He's got the weakest handle of any perimeter player in the league. He's small and soft, and he can't slide his feet worth a damn on the defensive end.
They hunting Austin Reeves.
They go. Eating.
They do.
Eating.
Well, I'm glad you see
I
it
don't
the way I
understand the
see
love
it,
for
man.
him.
I don't know why they are so sold on Austin Reeves, man. I mean, his handle is terrible, and he works too hard to get his shot, man. His handle, that behind the back stuff, they got the tape on you, Austin. And every time on defense, they seek him out. If you go back and look at the Clipper game, they seeked him out. You go back and look at the games before that, they seeked him out. But Darvin Ham does not do no coaching. They call him Hot Pockets.
He relies on LeBron.
Scam. And Darvin Ham is not the guy for that Laker team, man. Because I think the Lakers have the pieces to compete, make a little tweak here and there. But Darvin Ham, man, they not responding to what Darvin Ham is trying to convey to them guys, man.
He doesn't coach. They have they don't have an offense, K-Sat.
I know they don't.
Oh Lord have mercy.
They freestyling out there.
He's so I can't put into words the distaste and abhorrence I have for Darvin Ham. Seriously. What the Lakers need are a new head coach, and they need Austin Reeves gone for a perimeter scorer. Exactly. It's a real simple fix for them. Real simple. Yeah. Get David Fizdale in there.
I totally agree, man.
Get Mark Jackson in there. Get Jeff Van Gundy in there. Get one of those three in there. Get rid of Reeves for an actual perimeter scorer, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody sees it my way, man. It's just one little tweak they got to do. Get rid of the coach and move Austin Reeves, and I think you'll be fine.
Yes,
I agree with everything you guys have said. And I'm surprised that a team, they were really good defensively last year with all the moves. I'm surprised they regressed so bad defensively. So I don't know. I just think it's coaching with them. Definitely coaching. Yeah. If Adrian Griffin could get fired, Darvin Ham could go right with them too.
That's what I'm saying. So that right there, Adrian Griffin gets fired, second in the East. In Darvin Ham, you're under 500. You're tinkering around that 10th, 11th spot, and you tell me you still got your job? And they always
LeBron
say
and Anthony Davis on your roster.
Exactly. And they playing at an elite level.
This tells you how bad of an owner Jeannie Buss is, by the way. She's not her father. She's not. She's too friendly. She relies on the Rambis family.
She got too many feelings involved, man.
Yeah, she relies on the Rambis family to make decisions for her.
Yeah.
I listen, Jeannie Buss, not too good. But no, if I'm the Lakers, you probably can't get off of D'Angelo Russell because it's these 2 years at $17 million a year. But if you see the Hornets are getting rid of everybody not named LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, or Mark Williams.
Exactly.
That means Miles Bridges is available on an $8 million rental.
They saying he going to Phoenix.
They don't have the assets. And the last thing Phoenix needs is a small forward. I don't get them talking to me about Matt Ishbia and the Suns. That's a whole nother tangent. If I'm the Lakers, listen, the Hornets need a shooting guard next to LaMelo Ball. If I can give them Reeves in that 2027 pick for Miles Bridges and do everything I can to re-sign him, that's what I'm doing.
Got you.
And you save some money by doing that. You save about $4 million this year by doing that.
Man, that's perfect, man. But yeah, man, we ain't gonna hold y'all guys up, man. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in, man. If you didn't catch the live show, man, you can catch the replay on YouTube, man. And that's gonna wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're gonna catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.